Hey Blake, going into your second NHL training camp, how much better prepared do you feel, for the rigors of a camp now that you have one under your belt?
Yeah, I think that's super important in terms of confidence and kind of expectation and knowing what coaches are looking for. And last year was kind of unique where even the older guys weren't really sure what to expect with new coaching staff coming in. But this year has been a lot more confident for myself, just even knowing the drills, and it's gotten a lot smoother, I think. Not having really as many surprises, which is huge, and just the comfortability with some of the better players here like Kopitar and Doughty and Karts, and just having more familiarity with them and more comfortability plays a huge role in being more confident.
Across this very extended off season, what were some of the goals that you had for yourself and some things that you look to improve on as you came into camp this year?
Yeah, I think as a young guy, it was really important for me to make a big stride with the extra time off to train. Um, at my age, it's really important to utilize summer training, and I think for myself, it was getting stronger. That's a huge part of my game that needed work, especially defensively. And I think I did a good job to become stronger over the summer. And obviously, speed is always important in this game. So anytime I can get a little faster and stronger is good. And hopefully, I accomplish that this summer.
Thanks, Blake.
Okay, next up is Jack Harris.
Like, just what do you like most about playing alongside Jeff, and what kind of things do you still learn from him as you go into your second year, full year?
Yeah, I think with Karts, you're always learning around him. The guy is just full of wisdom with how much he's been around the league and the places he's been to and the cups he's won. He is just full of knowledge, and I think every day when I come to the rink, I'm just like a sponge still, soaking up everything I can. I think for him, his practice habits are so good. He plays intense, whether it's first day of training camp or late in March or April when the season's winding down. I think his practice habits are always at a high level, and that's something that I strive to be like because it's super important. And I think he knows how to build a winning team and a winning environment, and I think he's a huge part of that here in LA.
And then what did your off season look like? Did you spend a lot of it in Minnesota? Were you in LA for a chunk? Just kind of how did you manage everything?
Yeah, I was back home in Minnesota. We were pretty much open in terms of COVID training wise. It was I was able to skate and work out every day there, and then I would like to come back to LA, but things were pretty locked down throughout the summer until like late August. I think they opened up Toyota training center, so I ended up coming out in November. But I was back home in Minnesota for most of the break.
Thanks, Blake. Good to see you.
All right, next up is Darryl Evans.
Hi, Blake. You kind of answered a little bit with one of your past questions, but when you look back at your game last year, what were the things that you were most pleased with in doing in the NHL, and what were the things that challenged you the most?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I was real pleased with my consistency for the most part. I thought as a young guy, rookie, at times a lot of ebbs and flows of the year, and there is throughout your whole career, whether you're a rookie or a 10-year vet, there's always ebbs and flows. But I think for the most part, I stayed pretty consistent, which I was really happy with, and I was pretty happy with my defensive game as well. I felt I was trusted by the coaching staff to be put in any situation. I think over the summer, I'd like to work on my scoring ability and scoring touch to get a few more goals in. I think that's an area of my game that improved over the summer, and that I'd like to see improve throughout this season.
Thank you.
Okay, and it looks like we're going to finish up here going, we'll go to Zach Dooley next, and then one more.
Hey Blake, just one more for you. You played with Andrejs today for the first time. What did you see from him, and how is he kind of integrated into the group on his first day?
Yeah, it's awesome to see him out there. We were all pretty excited when we signed him, and obviously the elephant in the room is his speed. The guy can skate, and he showed that today in little flashes, and he hasn't skated in 10 days or whatever since quarantine, and he was still the fastest guy on the ice next to Wags. So it was awesome to see his speed and his playmaking ability, and he's shown in the past that he can be a 20, 30 goal scorer in this league. So we're pretty excited to have him here, and it was fun to have day one and kind of get comfortable with him. And I think Karts and I are with him right now, and I think that's been a good mix so far, and hopefully that continues to go well.
Thanks, Blake.
Okay, a couple more still, I guess. Lisa Dillman, you're next.
Zach was thinking along the same lines I was. I was going to ask you about today with Andreas, but how does I know speed's it compares to Wags a lot. How does his speed compare to Wags? I know it's just one practice, but sometimes there's differences, really.
Definitely, that's actually a great question. Yeah, I think Andrejs' first 3 steps might be a little quicker than Wags, but Wags' full out 200-foot speed might be a little bit better than Andrejs'. That's yet to kind of be determined. You've only seen one practice, but they're both obviously some of the fastest players in the NHL, and it was really great to see Andrejs kind of get comfortable with us and be flying around out there for sure.
Oh, Minnesota-centric question. Did you ever run into Brock Faber through the years, and how much did you know about him before recently?
It's kind of surprising. I haven't actually run into him at all. The hockey world's kind of small, and in Minnesota especially, there's everyone kind of knows everyone, so I'm kind of surprised I haven't come across him yet, but I'm hoping to meet him soon here. Big gold medal win last night. That was huge.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Carlin Baith.
Want to follow up on that gold medal win, Blake. I just saw your Instagram post reposting the USA Hockey gold with Alex Turcotte in the photo. And how was it watching this tournament if you had the time to kind of sit down and watch, and how excited are you for some of your fellow Kings players?
Yeah, I think it was a great tournament overall for a lot of Kings prospects, which is always awesome to see. I think that's kind of the point of that tournament is to kind of showcase where prospects are at. And I think, Kings fans and us Kings players are excited about where our prospects are at, and they'll be with us soon, hopefully. So it was pretty fun to watch, and always excited to have USA take home the gold, have Turcotte score the game winner, which was pretty cool. And I think that's a memory that will last a lifetime for all of those guys. So throughout the tournament, I don't think I missed a game. I absolutely love watching it and supporting our prospects and teammates. So it was really fun.
And then last question for you. How did you go about watching the game? Was it like a roommate sit down session, popping popcorn, making dinner? Like how did a typical game night watch party go for you at the house?
Yeah, Mikey Anderson and I roomed together. So we're both obviously from USA and pretty big USA fans. And Mikey was actually a captain of that team a few years back. So we both are pretty loyal to US hockey, and we get pretty fired up on game days. And usually cook dinner and sit at the living room table and watch the game and eat some dinner. And thankfully they played Canada in the gold medal game, so we had some bets with the Canadian guys on the line, and fortunately USA came out on top. So I think Mikey and I are both pretty pumped.
Thanks so much, Blake.
Okay, and now this is going to be the last one here from Darryl Evans.
Blake, last year when you came to camp, you had that work hard attitude. You established yourself. Do you feel that coming back this year, you have more of an identified role? And is there an expectation from the organization within now that they know what you're all about?
Yeah, I think there's expectation on both ends. I hold myself to a high standard. So, I kind of that energy, penalty killer, can kind of play any role type player. I've kind of excelled at that and found a role in that with the club here. And I think the expectation is high on myself for, being a better offensive player this year. And that's not sacrificing any defensive liabilities or anything like that. But I think definitely it's being in the second year, you don't have to define your role quite as much. I played 65 games last year, so that kind of carved the role out for myself. So I think coming back, I'm just as hungry as I was last year to start playing games and prove to the people that I belong here. And I don't think I've lost that chip on my shoulder at all. But there definitely is a more of a role carved out prior to any games being played for sure.